Hi everyone and welcome to this webinar, Find Your Inner Space, for getting ready for year 10, getting ready to go into year 11. And we're just waiting on Merlin. He's just had a bit of a mare with his laptop. So we're going to give it a few minutes just so he can get sorted and allow a few others to pop in. So get yourself comfy. We'll get started soon, just in a couple of minutes. Hi everyone, me back again. I just thought while Merlin is getting his laptop sorted, maybe we could have a little discussion about what has brought you to the webinar today. So I'm going to pop in a little message on the Q&A form to say what year you're in at the moment. Are you in year 10 or are you below? I'm typing as I speak. And do you use GCSE Pod regularly? Is this your first kind of time to experience anything to do with GCSE Pod? Are you completely new to it, or have you been using it for a while?
Hello.
You're here.
Hello. I did the
Hello.
old classic turn it off and on again, and it managed to work for us.
Very good. I was just saying that while we were waiting for you to get sorted, I was just asking everyone to let me know what year they're in at the moment, if they are in year 10 or if they're below, and do they use GCSE Pod daily? Is this their first time ever kind of seeing GCSE Pod or having anything to do with it, or is it something that they use? If you hear something in the background, that's my dog. Sorry. I turned on the function where you can reply on the Q&A. If someone could be a very brave soldier and reply and just let me know if that works on the Q&A.
And I'll check in the settings.
It is.
It's working. Fantastic.
Yeah, here's 10. Great. We can actually get started with the real webinar.
The real webinar. Yeah, exactly. Sorry about the technical hitch, everyone. You know, I work for a software company and I can't seem to make software work sometimes. It is how it is. But there we go. I will share my screen and we will get started on the good stuff. So
so lost without you.
Oh, well, I feel the same about you, Katie, so okay, let's get started with the content. So obviously you all know what you signed up for. This is finding your inner space, nurturing yourself for your future for year 11. So this is about moving from year 10 into year 11. It's more of a focus tonight on all things self-care. So even though it was 84 years ago that Katie and myself did our GCSEs or did our sort of that, what was the name of what you did? It wasn't GCSEs, was it?
It was junior cert.
Junior cert, yeah. So the Northern Irish equivalent. So we still remember what it's like when we're approaching that time. And even though you've all got you know, you're about to have 6 weeks off, the fact that your next academic year is your last one in secondary school, and knowing that you'll be rounding off that time with big exams, and you've probably just had some big exams or biggish ones, you're gonna feel a bit nervy. Okay, it's gonna happen. And it's also very easy to just go straight into the deep end and be all work all the time and think, okay, well, I've got to revise for 10 hours a day, and or giving yourself these really high expectations. But that's not always the healthiest way to approach your final year or to prepare for your final year. So we're going to focus on how you can use the time that you've got now to make sure that you're not only maximizing your productivity and your studies, but you're also looking after yourself, because that is, at the end of the day, the most important thing. Excuse me, none of your parents, none of your teachers, none of your mates want you to make yourself ill with overworking. Okay, that's not the best use of your time. So, what are we going to cover this evening? Well, we're going to be getting scientific and looking into what our stress responses mean and how we can control them. And then we're going to be looking at procrastination, that dreaded word. I'm sure everyone in this room has done it, or anyone watching this back on demand. It's really common to put off our important work, and we're going to talk about just how common it is. And should we be beating ourselves up about it? TLDR, no. And then we're going to talk about finding your inner space. So we're going to be doing some self-care and going through some techniques to calm ourselves and keep that brain clutter to a minimum. So yes, so that is what we are doing today. And if you don't know, if you've not joined one of our webinars before, I'm Merlin. I'm a learning content creator at GCSE Pod, and I'm in charge of all the audio production-y things, so the voiceovers, and I'm joined with the lovely Katie as well, who will take over from here.
Yes, my name is Katie. I'm also a learning content creator, and I work with our authors who write our content, and I work on our scripts that make the videos. Oh, you've got that staticky thing happening again, Merlin.
Oh, I'll mute myself while you're talking.
Merlin has a weird, like, staticky ghost that keeps coming into the
Don't say ghost, don't creep me out.
But yes, so we're both here to go through just a couple of things like the science behind stress and procrastination. So we'll hop into the science behind stress, okay? So now that we're nice and warmed up, I want to ask you all a potentially hard question. So I'm going to pop it into the Q&A. We'll pop in a little message. I'm just trying to find it at the top of my thing now. Do you mind popping in a message, Merlin?
I'll pop it in, yeah, of course I will.
Perfect. So we're going to pop in a message, but I really want to know one thing that you're worried or stressed about relating to school. So it could be a particular subject you're worried about, how much you procrastinate, you don't know the right way to revise, or you're thinking about everything you want to revise before exam season and where to start, because it can be very overwhelming. So let us know in the comment section, what are your worries? Have a vent. This is a completely safe zone. For me, when I was going into my exams, the thing that I was the most stressed about was I did get really overwhelmed about everything that I had to learn. And then also maths was a big thing for me. I am not in any way, shape, or form kind of maths sided. I'm way more English and history. So I have to work really hard at maths, and that really stressed me out. So let us know what's stressing you out at the moment. Is it the looming year ahead? Is it a particular subject? Bent away. There are no teachers, as far as I'm aware, in this webinar, so you don't need to be worried about anybody looking at what you're saying.
Yeah, no answer's a stupid answer or a wrong answer. I think Katie and I are quite similar in that maths and the sort of subjects of logic did stress us out a little bit. So I do have very vivid memory of crying in my, which exam was it? It was either physics or maths. Crying in my maths exam, because I had a panic. I saw one thing I didn't understand and then I freaked out. But I'd also do that throughout the years as well. Throughout the years of revision, you'd just sit there and you'd be like, "What? I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to get this," and you're setting yourself up to fail, I think, at the first hurdle.
Still do
But
that.
yeah.
It's just life, isn't it? Like, I still get like that now sometimes if I don't understand something the first time round. But in order to get good at something, you have to kind of fail, or not understand it first. Like throughout the year when you're doing little topic tests and stuff, that's how it kind of starts to stick in your brain, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
If not,
Um,
feels like Sharon will just keep going. You can put anything in there, reply to Merlin's comment and let us know if there's something that you are stressed about or you want to, as I said, have a vent. Me and Merlin have had a good vent. I can't do it anymore. But we're going to put our lab coats on and delve into the signs behind stress, okay? So approaching concepts like stress and worry objectively and looking at it as just a bodily response before relating to something in your life helps you understand why you react the way you do. So it shows the importance of inputting new time and proper good rest into even like the busiest of study schedules. So if you're thinking, I don't have any time to, put time in for myself, you absolutely do. It's just about putting yourself kind of first. So from this September, you're going to be taking in a lot of information and revisiting that information time and again in the form of revision. So that part of your brain that takes that information in is a teeny tiny portion called the RAS, and that is I hope I said this right, the reticular activating system. So I want you to think of this part of your brain as your own built-in spam filter, like in your emails. It seems seemingly like insignificant. It's like an insignificant piece of your brain when you look at it. But it helps you determine which bites of information you take in and if it's worth your time. So this system works alongside a chemical hormone called cortisol. And when our cortisol levels are under control, it doesn't act as a stressor, but it gives you a push to get into the zone. Kind of like when people say that they work better under pressure, I guess cortisol will kind of give them that little kicker to get into. A little bit of this hormone can make us stay focused under pressure and have a sharp memory and be more productive. But during those times in your life, you have a lot of information to process, like revision on exam season, and starting to get on top of you, or if you experience anxiety and worry over long periods of time, the RAS can be sent a little into like overdrive. So like when there's a lot going on, and too much stress means elevated cortisol levels, which completely drive your built-in spam filter out of whack. So too much of cortisol and just basically. But it doesn't just cause the worrisome feeling pit of your stomach, like it doesn't just cause that worry. High cortisol levels also make it harder for you to retain knowledge, so to process information and to perform effectively. What does that tell us then? It tells us that having breaks and proper real and distance isn't just suggested. It's necessary for us if we want to study and retain knowledge effectively. So this is coming from the experts. You need to have a little bit
Can I just say, Katie, do you have on your mic settings, do you have noise suppression turned on? Just because sometimes it's a little bit hard to hear you because there is the staticky noise on your end as well.
Or maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe it
Have you
wasn't
turned
you.
it? Have you turned
I've
noise
turned it
suppression
off.
on? It
I've turned
sounds
it on.
it sounds perfect now.
Oh,
It was just
was the static me then?
I think it was. Yeah, I didn't want people to be
Oh,
missing out on the important information. But yeah, it's so much clearer now. So would you be able to go over the too much stress and elevated cortisol levels again? Is that all right?
yeah. So, too much stress or elevated cortisol levels, they completely drive they can drive your built-in spam filter out of whack. So too much of that stress juice and you're stressed, but it doesn't just cause the worrisome feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach. The high cortisol levels also make it harder for you to retain knowledge and to process information and to perform effectively. So basically it tells us that having breaks and proper real rest and distance from our studies is just suggested, but it's necessary for us if we want to study and retain knowledge effectively. So it's coming from experts. So rest time should be a part of your schedule. You should block in time where all you'll be doing is resting and recouping. This is needed if you want to maximize the time you have got until those final exams. So when blocking in this time, you should make sure you don't spend too long relaxing. You'll get too comfortable and you won't want to get back into it. So just make sure that it's put into your schedule like a bit of study. Um fortunately, you've got the time over the summer to get started on seeing what works for you and how much time you should allow yourself to rest. But we'll also give you some good places to start later in the webinar. So we'll have a look at kind of how to schedule in that time. Kind of reminds me about when I take a break from the gym and I'll say that I'll take 2 days, but it turns into like 6 months.
Yeah, that happened to me 2 years ago.
You
I'll
talk
just
about
stop going for a little bit.
you've taken a 2 year break from the gym. I'm
Yeah,
not performing effectively here. I need a rest. Oh yeah, 6 months later. Oh no.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's easily done, and it's not something for you to beat yourselves up over.
No.
We all do it. It's very common. And speaking of that, well, we've just got there. Rest is essential. But speaking of that, procrastination, that's another very, very common thing throughout every single webinar that we've delivered to you wonderful students. The common thread is putting things off, procrastination, leaving it till the last minute. And that is a problem that never goes out of date. So that was the same issue that we had when we were students. It will be the same issue that maybe your children will go through when they go to school. It's one of those human conditions, okay? Um, there was a study completed by an online magazine called Microbiz, and they managed to conclude that 84% of us will be affected by procrastination at some point in our life. So that word, it's also been Googled over 22,000 pounds. Oh, I wish. It's Googled 22,000 times a month. Okay.
I want to know who the 16% are that don't procrastinate.
Um,
I want to
they're
interview.
deluded.
I want to interview a person who doesn't procrastinate. I would love to know how their brain works.
It's like, first of all, how dare you? Second of all, those people don't. I'm sure that must be higher. Um, but you can see here just by the fact that it's Googled that many times a month that you know it's common. So before you beat yourself up, remember that this is something we all do, and it's not something that you should feel guilty about. Okay. Um.
How many times do you reckon Google's been Googled?
Oh God, don't. I hear that if you do it enough times, the universe implodes. If you Google the word Google, I
No,
don't know if
what
that's
was the
true.
thing from the IT crowd?
This
If you
is the
type
internet.
Google, if you type Google into Google, that the internet breaks or something.
Yeah.
And Jen's in the meeting, she's like, "Don't do it. You will break the internet."
Yeah, we don't want to break the internet today, folks.
No, you
Um,
already did break your laptop's already broken, so
yeah, don't even get
let's
me
not push
started
it
on
into
technology.
overdrive.
Um, in terms of why you might procrastinate, I mean, maybe you could put a Q&A in the comment section, Katie, of asking people, why they think they procrastinate or what they do to procrastinate. But there's a list of possible reasons that I'm going to go through. So first up, the thought of doing the work that you know you need to do triggers a stress response, which makes us feel that anxiety feeling. And so instead, you try and find something which makes you feel less anxious and makes you feel comfortable. So, like TikTok, or, oh, that washing up looks really, really fun to do. I'll do that instead of, doing this part of biology that I don't want to revise. So that's one thing. You essentially, you know that you have to do it, you think about it, you get that little stress response, that bit of cortisol, and then in response you think, oh, I'm going to divert away from that. So that's one reason we'll do it. Another one is that we may not have our tasks organized and not know exactly what we're doing. So we may have an idea, but there may not be a list or an order of priority. So you just have to do, you know so you don't know exactly what you're doing, so everything that you do, you just sort of bunch it together into unclear, non-directional sort of chaos. So it's a lack of structure, essentially. You don't have your tasks organized and you don't have a structure to follow. The third reason um is that you're a perfectionist. So if you're someone who has a really, really high expectation of yourself, and I need to get this grade all the time, I need to do this well all the time, a lot of us won't start the work until it seems completely right. So you might just have a chapter of a book to read, but this looks so much more interesting than that. Or, you know, these dirty dishes, I'll take them downstairs. You take them downstairs, but then your mum's there with the washing up, so you go and sit back down at your desk and then realize that your pencil needs sharpening. So do you need a pencil to read? No, but you might need it. So you sharpen the pencil and you put the shavings in the bin. Oh, the bin in your room smells a bit. I'll just change it. And then you change the bin and you take it outside and then you go back to your room and then you start reading. Oh, this isn't actually a copy of the book that I took home with me. Oh, I'll just won't do it then. So it can.
You're like, do you remember when I was texting you? Because I basically do a uni part-time. And whenever I'm texting Merlin, when I need to do a uni assignment, I've cleaned the whole house. I have taken my dog for a walk. I have done everything bar what I need to do, which is the assignments that is assigned to me. So yeah,
Exactly.
no, you talking through that there is basically like my brain around that time. 100%.
Exactly. It's so, but we all do it, we all do it. And all of these little worries and reasons that we put stuff off, it stems from that one central feeling, and that's the feeling of being overwhelmed. It's
Yeah,
because we don't have a clear path from
yeah.
where we are to where we need to be. All we have in the horizon is this big, massive monster of finish exams or revise. And it's not been broken down. So there's this really cool quote that I like, and it was by Desmond Tutu, who's a human rights activist. And Desmond said, "There is only one way to eat the elephant, one bite at a time." So,
Very
what do we
true.
think? What do we think he means by that? I mean, I'm a vegetarian, so if it's an anthropomorphized chocolate elephant, I'll eat. But what he means by that is that when we just have one big goal, one line. What do you want to do by the end of school? Finish it. What do you want to do by the end of school? Do all right in my exams. It's not going to be a source of motivation, is it? But it's going to cause that fear. It's going to cause that cortisol level to spike and to decrease your productivity. And when we can't see the end in sight at all, you can't imagine the feeling of being done. So what can we do? Well, we can take it a bite at a time. We can take it one step at a time. The way that you work towards achieving a goal, it's not by focusing on the goal itself, but what you need to do every day to work towards it. So if you break that down into steps and a set of tasks you can address every day or every week, it's instantly going to become much more achievable. Okay. Um, so there we go. I mean, if anyone's got any questions on that, or if anyone wants to go through that a bit more, then let me know. But essentially, it's about breaking down your goals. So why don't we think of an example of a goal? So I could say I want to pass biology. Say that's my goal. By the end of school, I want to pass biology. Okay, yeah, but how am I going to do that? Okay, well, one of my weak points is plant cells and distinguishing between animal cells. So maybe I could devote a little bit of time towards that. Yeah, but when are you going to do it? When exactly are you going to do it? I'll just do it next week. When are you going to do it next week? Because you've got football this night, you've got so and so this night. It's about having that structure, okay? And I think on your resources on your sites, there should be a revision timetable somewhere where you can break down your tasks. But Pinterest, that's got so many good structures for revision and
The
breaking
notes
that
app.
down. And the notes
Myself
app.
and Merlin use the notes app for our to-do lists, and we have I you have a picture of chickens and I have a picture of kittens.
Yeah, exactly. We love animals. So like OneNote on Microsoft Word, like that works so well. You can have different files and sections, to-do lists. We have ours in high priority, medium priority, low priority. Just find something that works for you and have a little bit of fun because you've got the time to prep now. You've got the time to explore those techniques. You might already know the best way for you to structure your time, but yeah, I would just take it a bite at a time. Okay. And one way that you can also prep is by looking at our we've got some resources on our site. We've got some getting ready for resources, and I think Katie's just going to do a little brief overview of that.
Yeah, so on the website we do have getting ready for key stage 4. I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. I'm logged into the website. We've actually had a bit of a revamp of these. Um, so when you log onto the website, just up in the top here, there is a little pencil here. It says getting ready for key stage 4. And what you have in here is you've got some courses for like the main kind of subjects. So we've got chemistry, biology, key stage 4, physics, maths. And within these courses, what you'll find is the objectives, and then also some videos for you to watch for kind of getting ready for it. And what these essentially are is just setting you up for success. Now, I know that you've already started Key Stage 4, but it might be a good refresher for you as well to go back over what, has been done in Year 10. Because basically what these are designed to do is, if we go into, let's say, DT, you've got some pods here that will essentially go over the information that you need to get ready to retain within that year. And there should also be there's like as far as I'm aware, there used to be kind of a list of have a go tasks with that as well. I'm just trying to see where they've gone because we have had a revamp of these.
If you press share, maybe is it on the share thing at the top, the pink tab?
It's not, no. I'm guessing the learning activities will be really good for these as well. So the learning activities have loads of revision techniques in them, but they're also really good at using the information in the pod to the best of your ability, and kind of giving you the best chance of making that information stick. So if you wanted to go over, let's say, the chemistry information from the Getting Ready for Key Stage 4, you could use one of these up here. We've got 33 of them. So let's just say if you wanted to use Probe a Pod, design 10 questions relating to the pod, you must also include solutions or model answers to the questions. If you were to do this over summer, you'd set yourself up for real success starting Year 11, because you're going over the information that you may have potentially covered in Year 10, but you're also looking at maybe some new information that you're going to come into contact with in Year 11. And they're really good revision techniques as well. So if you find something that works for you in these learning activities, it could be the revision technique that you're going to bring forth into your Year 11. So really all round, you're going to be making yourself feel more prepared and ready to go. So you can find them on the website at the top in the Key Stage 3 subjects, and they're called Getting Ready for Key Stage 4.
Fantastic stuff.
I think I'm also going to talk to you about stress management.
Yes, if that's all right, or I can cover this one if you'd like, Katie.
No, it's absolutely fine. So we'll jump back into all things stress. And we're going to look at giving you some tips on the best ways to manage and reduce your stress levels. It's not an easy task. It really isn't. Feelings like stress and overwhelm are just so much for you to kind of take, like to carry as a person, just in general, no matter what position you're in. But hopefully these tips will help you a little bit. So as we mentioned earlier on, when our stress levels are consistently hitting the roof, it produces cortisol into our systems, which will dull our concentration and make us feel less focused and engaged. So we need to build rest and relaxation into our routines to prevent something called burnout, which I'm sure a few of you have already heard of. So burnout is when your RAS goes into, like, that little teeny tiny part of your brain goes into overdrive, and trying to filter and process more information than we know what to do with. The fuse blows and we lose all forward drive. So this, for me, I always call this wallowing. So if I have too much going on, I like to dull myself by watching something, by just looking at content somewhere. But the other day I was like, do you know what? Instead of that, I'm going to go for a walk. And I'm going to go for a walk without my headphones, and I'm going to listen to the birds. And it helped me so much, so much. But that's just a little bit of like rest that can help you with that. So you lose all your forward drive, you just come to a stop. Well, how can you prevent it? And it's about employing some self-care into your work routine. So like the walk I mentioned. So there's a study structure, which myself and Merlin could write a book about because we love it that much. And it's called the Pomodoro technique. So this is a routine designed to break down whatever you're working on into smaller bursts of hyper-focused activity and allow regular breaks throughout the sessions, because me and Merlin love a break. It's just unrealistic and not particularly productive to sit down for hours at a time doing your work, as you'll grow tired and bored and disengage from the work that you have in front of you. Like, it's just so easy to do. So here's a technique you should utilize in any future revision sessions or any brain heavy tasks. And it actually fits in with procrastination. Like they fit really well together. So first of all, work out what task you want to get done in your first Pomodoro. Be specific and don't just say biology. What part of biology and how are you going to study it? For example, your first part Pomodoro could be, I'm going to revise diffusion and osmosis by making up some mind maps. So you could use the learning activities, for example. Then set your timer for 25 minutes and press go, turning your phone upside down. And for those of you who use Apple Watches, put them on Do Not Disturb. Because when I'm studying, if I don't put this on Do Not Disturb or don't take it off, I am replying to TikToks that have been sent to me and replying to text messages. I can't just leave it. So turn your Apple Watch on Do Not Disturb. Then 100% focus on the task you've given yourself. 25 minutes is perfect because it's not too long that you'll lose focus, and it's not too short that you get nothing done. If you feel yourself losing interest, just remember that in 25 minutes, when that timer goes off, you'll have a whole 5-minute break to get a snack, do some Googling. You could Google, break the internet, get some fresh air. And then you repeat that process 3 more times. And then you'll get a longer break to do whatever you'd like. So in each Pomodoro, try changing the subject topic that you're revising to give your brain a bit of variety, and perhaps plan in advance how you can celebrate your Pomodoro and your 5-minute break. For me, I've been listening to Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter whenever I'm having a break.
Good.
So good. And this study technique neutralizes all the stressors we've talked about this evening. So it combats procrastination by breaking down the elephant into bite-sized chunks, gives you the opportunity to rest and relax regularly during studying, and it breaks down your task list into smaller chunks. I'm like, feel like I'm life coaching myself here. Like I'm ready to study something, even though I'm on a break from uni at the moment. The Pomodoro technique will have a knock-on effect on your well-being and stress levels. But despite fantastic techniques like this, we know that there may be times when your workload and day-to-day life may get on top of you. So let us know in the comments if this has ever happened to you, if you've ever felt a bit overwhelmed that you didn't want to study or you didn't want to do anything, and you get into that kind of like nearly paralyzed, you don't want to move, or wallow, as I say, wallowing. But yeah, no, and you know what? Honestly, I've used the Pomodoro technique for studying in uni, and what I do is I put my noise cancelling headphones on. I actually put on brown noise. There's all different types of noise now. You can get white noise, pink noise, brown noise. I don't know what the difference is.
I've had lilac noise before, or lavender noise.
Yeah, just find a certain noise and put it on Spotify. And I just put it in and I do the 25 minutes and then my timer goes off. But when you've done 3 or 4, you've done like 2 hours of work, and it doesn't even feel like it because of the breaks, honestly.
I think for me as well, like, and this is 100% true, you know, we're both like, this genuinely has helped us throughout our entire education and, you know, university and beyond. So I did a master's a few years ago, back in 2017. And I did an adapted version. So I adapted a version of the Pomodoro technique for my working, where I would work for 45 minutes and I'd have a 15-minute break, because I had to sit down and do my dissertation. Otherwise, I wasn't going to do it at all. So I would work in silence because I can't really work with any noise if I need to fully focus. And I'd have 15 minutes where I'd move away from the space. I'd go make a coffee on my coffee machine. I'd sit on the bed and watch BuzzFeed Unsolved, and then I'd do it again. And I'd do that for maybe 4 hours, and then I'd have dinner or lunch. And that got me through a really tough academic time. It was hard work, but I got through it, and I did well in the end, okay? And it's, you know, I know that revision isn't fun, or some people do enjoy it, some people don't, but when you're going through some of those topics which you know you struggle with, it's hard. It's really hard. So this is genuinely a really useful way to break it down, to break down that elephant and take it a bite at a time.
Do you know what's really making me laugh is that you said that you did your master's a few years ago. You said 2017. 2017 is 7 years ago.
I am not okay.
I just looked at the year and I was like, oh my God.
I don't like it.
7 years ago.
I don't like that. I'm too old.
Time's not real. Time is not real.
Time isn't real. Time's a construct anyway. We know that despite having all the tools, like all the right tools to get through it, you're you're still gonna have those days where you feel overwhelmed, and your mind may feel like it's raining post-it notes and it's a bit much, and you can't ground yourself like from all these thoughts that are surrounding you. So one thing that you can do is, there's something called a grounding technique. So some people may have heard of this if you're prone to get anxiety, or like myself, you get panic attacks occasionally. It's really hard to get out of this chaotic way of thinking, but grounding yourself um, can really help. It's the 5 4 3 2 1 technique that helps you bring your attention away from all those worrisome questions you're asking yourself. What if I fail this? Oh, I'm just not good enough at this. It takes you away from the what ifs and towards the what is. So it takes you back to the here and now. So I'm not gonna do a demonstration because that will be cringe. The silence will be too much. But I'm gonna let you have this slide. You can take a picture if you want to, or you can just Google the 5 4 3 2 1 technique. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, you can have five. You've got to think of 5 things you can see. So you look around you. So lamp, monitor, water bottle, whatever. You list 5 things, and then you say 4 things you can feel. So what you can feel the chair you're sitting on, you can feel the jumper against your skin, you can feel the moisturizer you've just put on your hands, something like that. 3 things you can hear. So what can I hear? The sound of my own voice. um, I can hear a distant car, I can hear the rain outside. 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Okay. So going through these, it's taking you back to the here and now. Okay. Feel free to screenshot that and practice it. And it does work. It might not work for everyone. I'm not going to say this is a one size fits all thing, but this is one of the many sort of grounding techniques and meditation techniques you can use, which can help you just settle yourself and feel a little bit more in control of your thoughts. Okay. Um. Also, sorry, go on, Katie.
I was just going to say I have a really quick breathing thing that you can do that I usually do at my desk.
Yeah.
And it's breathing in for 7 seconds through your nose. But what you need to do is you need to, instead of just breathing in to fill your belly, think about trying to expand your ribs. So when you breathe in, you can actually feel, if you try and fill the space here, can you feel it?
Oh, yeah.
Can you feel that? So if you breathe
Yeah.
in for 7 seconds doing that, or 5, I mean, sometimes my lung capacity is like, and can't do it. So if you do 5 to 7, and then when you're breathing out, you take breaks. So when you're breathing out, you go do it in 3. So breathe out for 1, hold it, breathe out again until you're empty,
All
and
right.
it
Okay.
regulates everything. It
Yeah.
brings your stress, like, it, honestly. So I'll set a timer for about 3 to 4 minutes to do it, and afterwards I feel like loosey goosey.
Is it like a reset button kind of thing?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you just feel, because with the high levels of cortisol we talked about today, like, it can affect so much parts, like so many parts of your body, not just your
Mm.
mind. And you can actually feel like your jaw, your shoulders going, like, and it helps if you do that every day. It actually sets you up for so much success because it puts you into a state of your body being able to handle the
Mm.
stress, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, that
So
makes
yeah, try
sense.
that as well. It's a pretty good one.
That's a fantastic one. I mean, there you go. You've got 2 bits of sort of self-care techniques that you can utilize there. Um, and with those, that's the end of our webinar. We've reached the end. We want to obviously say thank you. But we also want to give you an opportunity to ask any final questions that you've got. Um, Pop those in the Q&A chat for us. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's been a good webinar for sort of being realistic about and being kind to ourselves as well.
Mhm.
I think that it's really easy because whether you believe us or not, we do know how you feel because we've been there. It's a lot of pressure to have on your shoulders, but it's doable. You can do it, and you will do it, and you'll get through it, and you'll smash it. Um, you've just got to be a little bit kind to yourself, and maybe sometimes a little bit selfish. You've got to look after yourself first, because ultimately you are the most important person in your life. But yeah, I mean, if nobody has any questions, I feel like we should just give you your evenings back again. So go off and try your breathing, grounding techniques. Have a walk your dog, Google, and then
Break the internet.
go break the internet, folks.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't think we've had any questions, so I think I will. We can drop off now, and we hope you all have a fantastic evening. And thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much for
evening.
coming.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye, bye, bye.